Yes, guys, what's going on? AdamMcKola here for AdamMcKola TV. This is the preview of Manchester United Crystal Palace, and I've just been thinking, I'm excited about football again. I'm excited to be going back to Old Trafford again. It was disappointing against Wolverhampton Wanderers, dropping points, especially when you miss a penalty in the second half. It's disappointing. It's massively disappointing. But what I will say is, I'm super excited to be going back to Old Trafford this weekend for Man United against Crystal Palace. It's the way we're playing, it's the players we're playing, the youngest squad in the Premier League on the opening 2 weekends of the Premier League, average age throughout the first 11. And you're looking at it and the way we're playing football, the intensity, the speed, the skill, everything, it's getting there. And it's exciting to watch. So I am buzzing for this game against Crystal Palace at the weekend. I want to know how you guys are feeling as well. Get your comments in on AdamMcKola TV, because remember, this is your show as well. We want your thoughts on all things Manchester United, on all things Crystal Palace. We've got Anant with his question, should Lingard deserve starting 11 at United? We'll be talking about that. We'll be talking about people already discussing Jadon Sancho as well in the comments. We got John James, we got Joshua in the comments, we got King Tom and Desta there too. And Desta's saying United are not in good shape, especially in midfield. And I'm thinking we may see some midfield changes this weekend against Crystal Palace, and that's something we'll be discussing as well a little bit later on in this show. So make sure you're keeping it locked to AdamMcKola TV. Make sure you're subscribing as well. I'll have another match day vlog coming for you. Didn't have a ticket for the game against Wolves, so I didn't make a vlog. I will be at the game. I was at the game because obviously we did fan cams and stuff, but I didn't have a ticket for the game. Missed out in the ballot. I've got a ticket for every single home game, so you'll be getting a vlog against Crystal Palace, and I should be going to Southampton as well. I think I've locked down a ticket for that one. So let us know how you're feeling ahead of the game. And yeah, I'm excited. Like I said, the way we're playing football, it's exciting. The game against Wolves ended in disappointment, and I'm hoping that disappointment doesn't go into this game. But after we went 1-1, after the 10-15 minute spell that Wolverhampton Wanderers enjoyed and got their goal from, United got back into the game, and I think for large parts of the game we actually performed better than we did when we beat Chelsea 4-0. We just obviously didn't take our chances, and we didn't create enough clear-cut scoring chances. Wolves are a better team than Chelsea are at this moment in time. Obviously, as the season progresses, Chelsea might get better under Frank Lampard, although even that's a question mark. But Wolves are a very good side, as we saw last season, and to go there and play the way we did at some points was great. Obviously, it is only Wolves as well. Whilst they're a good side, it is only Wolves. You'd like to think with the possession we had, we would have scored more goals. And we have to start doing that, getting more ruthless. We're obviously going to get more to grips with the way Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants us to play. We're obviously going to, get used to playing with different players. We've got Wan-Bissaka, who I think had the most touches for an outfield player for Manchester United against Wolverhampton Wanderers. So it shows you just how important he's becoming in the team. And he's going to get used to the runs that his teammates are making as well. He's already made an incredible start to his career at United, as has Harry Maguire. So there are positives to be taken going into this game against Crystal Palace and going on in the season. Obviously, we have that squad depth issue. Someone mentioned earlier on about the midfield, and I totally agreed that our midfield is very, very weak, very, very, it's lacking in depth and lacking in quality. Now, we're hoping Fred can come in and do something for United and become the player that we thought we signed when we spent £52 million on him. That's what we're hoping from, obviously, Fred. But if that doesn't happen, then we're very light in midfield. So I see the concerns there with midfield. Who would I start? How would I start against Crystal Palace? I'll obviously give you my starting 11 very, very soon. But I'm thinking maybe bring Juan Mata in. Jesse Lingard was discussed today. Now, there was another question about Jesse Lingard. Now, I think Jesse Lingard has very good attributes to his game. He obviously has to get better in terms of goals and assists. We know that. He knows that. Everyone knows that. And I think he will do as the season progresses. This team now is looking to play on the front foot, is creating more chances, and will hopefully score more goals this season. In away games, he's perfect for the way he sets up the press, for the way his movement creates space for others, and for his link-up play as well. But I'm thinking against Crystal Palace, maybe this is a game for Juan Mata. Now, Juan Mata is obviously, some people don't think he should be at United still and whatnot. Now, the one thing Juan Mata lacks is pace. We know that. But against Crystal Palace, we're going to be coming up against the Crystal Palace side that are probably going to sit quite deep. They're probably going to look to hit us on the break, sit 10 man behind the ball, have Wilfried Zaha up top, try and get something out of him. So with that being said, we'll have a lot of the ball and we'll be trying to break them down. And Juan Mata's got an eye for a great pass. And given time, space on the ball, he can make things happen. So I'm thinking this might be a game for Juan Mata against Crystal Palace to come into that number 10 area of the pitch and help supply things for Martial and Rashford. Obviously in a way against teams like Wolves, I think Jesse Lingard is important. I know he gets a lot of criticism for his performances, and you look at the stats and they're not very pretty when you're looking at someone that's played in that 10 position. He doesn't always play in that 10 position, so I feel like it's unfair to judge him solely as a number 10. He's played in various positions, but he has to get better when playing there in terms of goals and assists. But he brings a lot more to the team as well. And with the way we're playing at the moment, is important to setting that up from the front. Martial's getting better with his running. Rashford's great with his running. Jesse is incredible with his running from that position. So if you're starting your press from the front foot, that's the kind of player you need. Maybe away from home more often. And maybe someone like Juan Mata for those home games at Old Trafford where teams are sitting back a little bit. Not that Jesse, obviously, will be starting games at home as well. Greenwood needs to be involved for sure, says John. Should Fred start over McTominay, says Utkarsh. Obviously, we could start both of them. We could start a 3 in midfield. We could play a diamond. We could play 4-2-3-1 like we have been playing. It'll be interesting to see the formation that we do play. Now, I haven't seen any of Crystal Palace's games so far this season. I know they lost against Sheffield United, and I'm not sure how they got on opening day of the season. But Crystal Palace have been obviously out of form. Zaha's just been brought back into the team, so we know on the break they've got someone in Wilfried Zaha that can make things happen. But throughout the team in other areas, they've brought in Gary Cahill at the back. I don't think he's started recently for them. So they've strengthened their back line. But are they a team that we're expecting to come to Old Trafford, open up and try and kill us? I don't think so. So it's going to be on us to make things happen. And I think we'll have the possession. It's about creating chances, hoping they don't hit us on the break and getting goals. If we get an early goal, I think Crystal Palace will crumble and United will get 3-4 goals. We could see 4-0 FC return again, but we got to be clinical from the first 20-30 minutes. I don't want to see a hangover from that game against Wolverhampton where we're kind of looking jaded or disappointed or feeling sorry for ourselves because we never got 3 points in that game. I'm thinking Paul Pogba, after the week that he's had, the kind of personality that he's got, the kind of man that he is, I think that Paul Pogba is going to come out and of course he's going to start performing. I think I thought he performed okay against Wolverhampton, to be honest. I thought Pogba performed all right against Wolverhampton. And he missed the penalty, so obviously it looks bad. He misses the penalty. But he played well against Wolverhampton, 2 assists against Chelsea. He had a hit and miss first half, got 2 good assists. And now going into this game against Crystal Palace, I think he's going to go in there with a feel like he has a point to prove. After all the stupidity online with racism and all that rubbish this week, I think he's going to come out and look to silence the critics and absolutely smash it. I got a feeling Crystal Palace are going to be on the wrong end of a Paul Pogba masterclass this weekend. And hopefully he can get that consistency in his performances and consistency in his game. And answered, why can't we play 3-5-2 or 3-4-1-2, free up Shaw from defensive duties and press high? Also gives more leeway for Pogs to attack more often. Whilst we have got a lot of depth in terms of centre-halves and we've got a whole host of centre-halves at Manchester United, I don't think we should be really looking to play 3 centre-halves. We could, obviously, every now and then in a certain game and play Axel Tuanzebe with Lindelof and Maguire. I'd be happy with that. But if you're looking to play 3, and then you've got Jones, Rojo, Smalling on the bench. Are they good enough with the ball at their feet to be coming on into a 3? So I don't think a 3 is something that we'll be playing regularly. I don't think a 3 is something we'll be playing week in, week out. Although in occasional games, we may see that it's the best way to step up. Probably away from home. Probably not at home. What's up, Johnny? Thank you for joining us. Sturkey thinks United are not getting top 4. Man United for life, we're going to win 3-0, says Philip. United are finishing 10th. That's not happening. We're not finishing 10th, that's for sure. We might miss out on top 4. You know, that wouldn't surprise me because it's a competitive season. If Arsenal do well, if Chelsea come good under Lampard, it's going to be, you know, 3-4 teams battling for those two spots in the top 4. So then you're thinking it's going to be difficult. You could have a good season and miss out. So I hear that, but 10th? Nah, we're not finishing 10th. Yadnik says same lineup from last game, just Mata in for Lingard and Pereira in for James. So not the same lineup then. But yeah, I hear you. So Lingard off, Mata in, and Pereira in for James. Would you play the same formation or are you changing the formation? Anuj says like the stream. Yes guys, get hitting that like button on the stream and get your comments in ahead of Manchester United against Crystal Palace. Massive game ahead for Manchester United. If we can get a victory in this game, keep up that, you know, positive momentum, because a 4-0 win over Chelsea, a draw with Wolves, beating Palace at home, that's positive momentum, because then that Wolves result doesn't look so bad if you come back and you're beating Crystal Palace like you're supposed to. It looks worse when you don't beat them. Now, obviously, after Crystal Palace, we've got some tricky fixtures. We got Southampton away, Leicester at home, West Ham away. Now, I know West Ham got smacked up 5-0 by Manchester City, but that's still going to be a difficult game. And then we've got Arsenal at home. So you're looking after this Crystal Palace game, we've got difficult games either on the road or at home. Leicester City aren't an easy fixture. Even though it's at home, it gives us the home advantage. They're not an easy fixture. Southampton away on TV, early kickoff, not an easy fixture. West Ham away on TV on a Sunday, not an easy kickoff. They'll be up for that game. And obviously Arsenal on a Monday night at home. I think home game gives us home advantage, but again, not an easy game. So if United fail to get a result here, which obviously I'm feeling that positive vibes, I'm trying to keep the good energy. But if we fail to get a result here, we've got some tricky games coming up. And then you're starting to think, oh, where's the next win going to come? So we need to keep that positive momentum up. If we can beat Palace, we go into that Southampton game with a spring in our step. Beat Southampton, we got the international break. Come back after the international break. We got Leicester City at home. And then you're looking at that game thinking, right, we got 10 points out of 12 so far. Leicester City at home is a game we should be winning. Let's go. There's less pressure on it. Of course, there's always pressure for United, but if you're dropping points before that running of Leicester at home, West Ham away, Arsenal at home, and then after that we've got Newcastle away, Liverpool at home, Norwich away. So then the game you start to think, oh, these are some difficult fixtures coming up. Whereas if you're feeling positive, West Ham away, piece of piss. You know, Arsenal at home, we'll beat them. But you need to keep that positive vibes and that positive run going. We're going to score quite a few on Sunday, says Awi. Krishna Kumar thinks it's going to be 3-0. Would you rather be playing Alexis as the number 10, says Syed. I am not even taking him into consideration at the moment. We don't know if he's going to be a United player or not in this coming season, do we? So I'm leaving that one on the I don't know about him. Where do we do fan cams? We do fan cams near Sir Alex Ferguson Way. It's on a crossroad by the traffic lights. They block the road off after the game, so come and find us near there. It's not far from Hotel Football. Hopefully Pogba is not still dreaming of Spain. We will beat them, says Red 92. I hope Delon makes it to the bench at least this game. And that's an interesting one. That brings me on to this topic of Solskjaer. Is he beginning to get ruthless like we hoped he would in the transfer market? But maybe he's showing it a little bit more with his team selection. And this article from The Guardian was an interesting one, and it was pointing out how, obviously I mentioned earlier, we've got the youngest average age, 11 this season, first 2 weekends of the season. And he's Ollie's showing, he's picking young, quick talent. He's going for the fresh look at Manchester United. And you look at the players that are missing out. Smalling and Phil Jones, Nemanja Matic, all missing out. All missing out. Ashley Young, not involved. You know, the only player from the older heads that has been used this season so far is Juan Mata for a couple of minutes. So you're looking around and thinking maybe Ollie is starting to blood those players out that most of us have deemed deadwood for a long time. He's starting to do that. It's obviously going to take a little bit longer than expected with the owners and the management we have at boardroom level. But it looks like Ollie is starting to do that. And I've said this before, I'm not sure whether Ole's going to be a success at United, whether he's going to win trophies, whether he's going to be here for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. I'm not sure. I can't say. I hope he is. I hope he's a success, but I'm not sure. But what I will say is, I think Ole will be a success in terms of improving our squad. When he leaves, the next manager will have a good squad to choose from. I think the average age of the squad, the makeup of the squad, the identity, like players that want to play for us, I think we'll start to see that, because he knows how to pick players that should be playing for United, that are the right fit for the club, regardless of whether he's a great coach, a great manager or not. That will prove, that remains to be seen. But I think he'll improve the squad as a whole, and I think we'll see a massive improvement when he does move on as well. I think it'll be a lot better than the squad that he got. Gomez should be given a chance at 10 in this game, says Nitin. Kamoljit, you need to listen to what you're saying. West Ham, piece of piss, didn't we lose there last year? I've just been saying those games look difficult when you're going into it after bad results. When you're going into it and you've got 10 points out of 12 from your first 4 games, or 13 points out of 15, then you look at West Ham and you think we should be winning that. When you're going into it having drop points, if we were to drop points against Palace and then Southampton or whatever, then you look at it and think, oh, that's a tricky game. It's always a difficult game, but it's majorly important that United keep the confidence going, keep that momentum, positive momentum up. Wolves was a disappointing result, but I still think it keeps the momentum up, because the performances at times are better than that against Chelsea. And we need to see improvements as the season goes on. We don't want to be taking 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. Carl says Martial get some goals. Ali asked for patience. Are we going to give it to him? Says DWM. He deserves it. All managers deserve some patience. Solskjaer reminds me a little bit of Moyes, says Peter. Please don't. Everything you said to Nev was accurate, says Bay. Thanks, mate. It's better we didn't sign striker Martial on number 9. He will make our team better with Rashford, says Krishna Kumar. Hear you, mate. And it was great to see Anthony Martial scoring again against Wolves. 2 goals in 2 games for him. 2 goals in 2 games for Rashford. 4 goals in 2 games for the partnership. I've challenged them to score 50 goals this season, so they're only 46 goals off now. If they could get 25 each, that would be perfect. And so far, they're like neck and neck. Obviously, it's only 2 games in, but I'd hope to see either of them or both of them scoring again this weekend. We want every game. I want to see one of them score, just to keep it going, because they're our strike force now. We're seeing Lukaku chatting utter bollocks in that interview. Where's his accent come from, by the way? I wanted to watch the interview because I kind of like what he talks about when he talks about football sometimes, but the accent and the talking bollocks, bloody hell, I couldn't give it a go, Couldn't do it. But Marcel and Rashford, 50 goals has to be the target, 25 apiece. That's reasonable in all competitions. If they can get 20 in the league, fantastic. But 25 each in all competitions has to be the target. Need to see them scoring again. Let's get that consistency. Keep it going into the international break. John thinks Martial is the done. Moyes respected Liverpool. That was his biggest mistake, says Heron. You guys are still talking about Moyes in the comments, so I just don't get it. And on that note, let's move on to my predicted 11 for the game against Crystal Palace. So I've gone with David De Gea in goal, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Maguire, Luke Shaw. Keep that back 5 together. McTominay, I didn't think he had the best of games against Wolves, but obviously you got to hope that you can get consistency by playing him consistently. McTominay in there, Pogba to the left, Fred to the right, Mata in the hole with Rashford and Martial. So I've gone for like a little diamond I want to see play against Crystal Palace. I don't know what you guys are thinking, but that is my 11 right there. Get your 11s in the comments below. Make sure you're keeping them coming in. And yeah, let us know what your thoughts are on mine. The last 2 11s that I've done, the predicted 11s for these videos, I've been one off both times. Last time I put Fred. Who did I put in last time? I think I might have put Fred in and Daniel James started. I think that's what I did. But now, obviously, I've put Fred in. I've taken Daniel James out of the starting lineup, taken Lingard out of the starting lineup, brought in Fred, brought in Mata. What's your 11, guys? Get your comments in the comments below. Let us know your thoughts on my 11 and your 11. Manchester United, Crystal Palace, huge game, third game of the season. With Arsenal playing Liverpool, hopefully Liverpool, Arsenal draw. They're the both teams that are on 6 points at the moment. They're on 7. We beat Palace, we're on 7. Keeping it going at the top. We don't want to fall behind teams. I know it's early on. We don't want to be falling behind teams, do we? So it'd be nice to keep that going. Yeah, let me know your thoughts, guys, on the 11s. Rash and Tony will get at least 30 each, says Heron. He's confident. David doesn't think Rashford and Martial will get... He says we'll never get 25 goals each. I think that's a bit silly. I think they've both been close to 20 in the past, so there's no reason to think why two 21-year-olds won't improve their goal scoring record. Fred needs a big season. There is a great player in there. No Lingard, great, says Mini. Lukaku contradicted himself 5 times in that interview. It's not like him. Gomez over Mata, says Mini. He wants to see Gomez given a start in the team. Will Angel Gomez be given a start? Will Greenwood be given a start in this game? We saw Daniel James given an opportunity against Wolverhampton Wanderers. Will Oli look to give Mason Greenwood a game? And that would obviously bring the average age down as well. Gomez to unlock their defense. A lot of people saying Gomez Garner looks better than Longstaff, says DWM. Fred and Mata E. What about Pereira instead of Mata, says Iman Azad. Maybe the reasoning behind the whole Mata thing is I think he's got that killer eye for a pass. And I think in a game where we're going to have most of the ball, where we're going to be attacking a lot. So in this formation here, you're looking at Wan-Bissaka and Luke Shaw. They're going to spend most of the game down here. So it's almost going to be McTominay, Lindelof, Maguire in a free. Them two gone, pushing up wide on the edge of the 18-yard box. Fred and Pogba in the midfield. And Mata trying to pick out the holes. That's what it's going to hopefully look like if we dominate possession against Crystal Palace. And then he's got 2 runners as well. You're stretching the Crystal Palace backline. I don't know. That's just my opinion. We'll probably go with a 4-2-3-1. Lingard and Pereira destroyed Mount, Jorginho and Kovacic. I think Gomez should get his chances. Suman, another one. Jason Youth, thank you for commenting. Theo says, I think your starting 11 is on point. I want to see a slabhead goal on Saturday, says Harry. Andreas, not good enough in camp, says Young Voicemail. I think it's a good attacking team. Later bring Lingard and Pereira from the bench to give refreshed energy, says Desta. Mata is slow and gives the ball too many times, says Heron. I'm guessing that meant give the ball away. Can McTominay do for United what Henderson did at Paul? Future cat, I don't think he'll ever be a captain. I think a captain should be someone you expect to start week in, week out. I'd hope that United would improve their team. So we're not looking at McTominay. That's no disrespect to him. I just, I think he's a great squad player to have. Greenwood ahead of Gomez, says Hirame. If you were to play Greenwood, you'd probably go with the 4-2-3-1. What other teams have I got here? Could see that. But if you were going to play Greenwood, you could probably play him on where Lingard is in that 4-2-3-1. But yeah, that's my 11 anyway. Gomez ahead of Mata. Do you think Matic should play again, says Theo? I think we should use the likes of Matic, Smalling, Jones, Young for Europa League. Good experienced players, you put them in the Europa League with the likes of Mason Greenwood and Gomez and all that. You'd have a good level balance. So I don't really care about the Europa League early stages. If we can get through the group stages with young players and fringe players like, Ashley Young, Matic, Smalling and Jones and Romero, if you can get through the group stages with that, I'd do that, to be totally. I think we need to focus on the Premier League massively this season. We need to get Champions League football back, and if we can push on even further, even better, but we need to be focusing on the Premier League this season. So that's my 11, guys. David De Gea in goal. Wan-Bissaka, Shaw, Lindelof, Maguire going with the back 4 again. McTominay, Fred, Pogba, Mata, Rashford and Martial. A lot of you guys saying Greenwood or Gomez should be given an opportunity in here. Does anyone think Lingard should start? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. James Garner's also been mentioned in the comments, and Gabriel thinks Andreas should play. We can't underestimate Palace's Bailey. Let me see who played in Palace's last game, what kind of shape they've been looking in terms of who's starting and all that stuff. So let me bring that up right about now. From Soul Brother. They've only got 1 point out of 2 games. Last against Sheffield United, drew with Everton at home, 0-0. So they've only conceded 1 goal in 2 games. Their last lineup at home was Benteke and AU up top, McCarthy, Milivojevic in the midfield with Meyer and Townsend, Ward, Kelly, Dan, Van Arnold. Now I'd assume that Wilfried Zaha is going to start this game. They probably won't go as attacking, so with 2 up top. So maybe Benteke up top with Zaha in one of the wider areas, pushing up when they attack, tucking in when they defend, or Zaha up top. They'll pack out that midfield, I imagine. McCarthy, Milivojevic will be joined by maybe, I don't know, Kouyaté or James McCarthy or something. But those are the possibilities there for them. Obviously, still got very much a similar squad to the one they had last season. So yeah. Did they bring in Max Meyer? Is he a new signing for them? No, he came in 2018. But yeah, that's the side for them. They've still got the usual threats. Townsend, Benteke, AU, obviously Zaha, problem. Milivojevic, any penalties is going to tuck it away. So we can't be giving them away. Missing for them Sacco, Schlupp and Tompkins. Don't think they'll be making any returns either. So they've got the same squad that lost away from home against Sheffield United. Chuck thinks that looks like a good starting 11. And what's my score prediction, says Harry. I'm going to go with Manchester United 3, Crystal Palace 0, Martial getting 2, Rashford. No, I'm going to go Martial, Rashford and Pogba to score 1 apiece. I think Pogba's going to put in a big performance. He's the kind of guy that will rise to the occasion, especially someone that likes to prove people wrong. I think he's a fantastic player. I think he's had bad times at United. I think he's had good times at United. Mainly good in terms of his performances. And I'm hoping he can turn it on. He missed a penalty. He never let us down. But it was he'd be expecting to score that. So I expect him to bounce back, tell them racists to go suck their mums, and bang in a performance against Palace. So I think Pogba is going to be man of the match with 2 assists and a goal. And United are going to win 3-0. With Martial and Rashford on the score sheet again, bringing their tally to 6. What do you think about that for a prediction, guys? Get your predictions in the comments below. Heron thinks we're going to win 5-0. The same team, we need the boys to gel, says Nelson, so he wants Daniel James and Lingard to keep their spots in a team. Twanzebe has the defensive understanding better than McTominay in that CDM role, better ball winner, says United man. Stick Gomez as the number 10, says Jordan. AWB versus Zaha, 1 good battle, says Safai. There's the stories of Zaha getting frustrated in training at Palace because he couldn't beat Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Gomez instead of Mata, says Mary Maguire. What a name. I'm waiting for your predictions to come in, so while I wait for them, as I said, 3-0 is my score prediction for this. On the last 2 weeks, I've got 10 out of 11 in the predicted lineups. Can I get an 11 out of 11 right this time around? It'd be nice to see. It would be nice to see. Dale says, what's your take on his late tactical changes? I think he made late subs against Wolves because you've got to weigh up. You're chucking in youngsters in a difficult game away at home against Wolves. Do you go all out for the goal and then maybe lose a little bit of tactical shape? Wolves could easily score. So I think we should have made subs earlier. I think we should have brought Greenwood on earlier. But I can kind of get it if that's what he was thinking. Bay says 3-0. He has that on his Super 6. 3-0 Rashford, score a brace.